because the word of God that is fixed in my heart and fixed in my mind and fixed in my marriage, fixed in my finances, fixed in my relationships, fixed in the ministry that God has called us into, is unshakable. And the world can shake and the tectonic plates can move and shift, and tsunami waves are going to be a real thing spiritually. Tsunami waves of darkness, tsunami waves of war, tsunami waves of famine, tsunami waves of shortages, tsunami waves of disruption, tsunami waves of destruction. These things are going to be real and much more frequent than anything we've seen in the past. But again, if we serve the Lord and we are in covenant with God, we've got nothing to fear. But it is a time to latch on to what God is saying and not to what the system is saying, to what God is declaring and to know not what the news is declaring, to what God's covenant says about our lives and not what others are sharing with in their own wisdom. So, we are in a time where exceptional, supernatural, spiritual growth is taking place. And that is the will of God. That is the wanting of God. That is God's desire, where God is saying, you've been fed, I've been fed for many years, a great word, the incorruptible word of God, in many ways. And now God says it's time to dig it up and to start standing on this word and to ask for my present truth every day in your life, and then to retrieve all this revelation and walk in it, so that you would see my supernatural protection, providence, and also the way that I'm shaping out for you to walk in. So the excavators in the spirit has been taken out. I'm saying mobilized. So there are excavators, spiritual excavators, and we can call them angels, with their equipment that is prepared the way for me to walk into. And I need to be fully confident in God, that God has this way prepared for me, and I can walk with my chin up and expect God to provide for me with every step I take, and to release His glory and to light my way all the way to my destination. So we are living in intense times, and it's going to become much more intense. If we think Ukraine is going to be the only war we're going to hear about this year, we are seriously deceived in a way, because wars are going to increase and shortages are going to increase. But in God's camp, spiritual, supernatural, exceptional growth is going to take place, and God's people are going to be above the storm and not in the storm. We are going to be above the storm and not being touched by the storm. The winds can blow, but if we build our house according to God's ways, our walls will stand and our roof will not be ripped apart. It's with such importance that we need to apply God's principles in this time and not compromise with them. So as I'm speaking to you, I'm actually prophesying because I feel God's hand upon me. I feel the seriousness in the spirit. I sense God's heartbeat literally vibrating in my being. I want to say to each person that's watching this broadcast, do not fear. I'm saying to each person that is walking with God, do not be troubled. I'm saying to each person that's watching this broadcast this evening, that the Lord's hedge of protection is around you.